Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hello, fine folks. This is Freedom Fighter, and today is Thursday, August the 29th, 2024. I am your host of Goldilocks Global Banking News, your number one source of the RVGCR facts with proof provided by Goldilocks. This is where over 100 countries, including Iraq, Vietnam, India, Brazil, and other BRICS nations, are subscribed to this channel to get their daily updates directly from the information that Goldilocks provides. Today, in my morning discussions with Goldilocks, I can really say that the information that is coming out is exciting, phenomenal, and earth shattering. We will see how everything is really coming into place. We're going to see with Ripple, for example, where Ripple is going to a whole another level. Remember, this is how our currencies, our digital currencies and paper currencies, whether it's dinar, dong, no matter what currency, even the USD will move through the QFS by Ripple. Then we're going to touch on BRICS nations and with Russia and what China are doing, ditching the US dollar. And then we're going to complete with some information coming out of Iraq. Let's jump right into it. Goldilocks shares that Ripple is beginning to get the attention of institutional investors at this point. What are institutional investors? This is very key for you to understand. Institutional investors are the big money players, the big banks, the hedge funds, those that have an unlimited amount of money. And they are the ones that move the global financial markets. They move money around the world. So Ripple is beginning to get the attention of these folks, the institutional investors. The number of institutional investors have soared to 20% and climbing. So 20% of the institutional investors around the world are now investing and moving their money into Ripple. Goldilocks shares when institutional investors, when they get involved in an asset due to the need for it to enhance their company, it solidifies growth potential and even beyond that to a steady need for that particular service. So here we have the interest of the biggest money players pumping money into Ripple because obviously there is a need. Obviously, there is a huge interest. Institutional investors have significant impact on asset pricing dynamics. So what this means is institutional investors have a significant impact on the value of a particular asset. Folks, an asset is digital assets such as Ripple. Assets are paper currencies such as Denong, Dar, Dong, so forth and so on. Think of assets also as precious metals. So institutional investors have a significant impact on asset price dynamics. Why? Because they move the market, they move the price. How do they move it? Number one, supply and demand. Institutional investors buy and sell large positions in assets like stocks and bonds. Market sentiment, meaning institutional investors can have a strong effect on how the market moves. So that's where they can sway the market on a particular asset one way or the other. Volatility is another, economic conditions, corporate governance, and investment opportunities. Institutional appetite is growing, and these corporate giants will consume a great deal of ripple. Someone coined the phrase, follow the money. This is what Warren Buffett does. He follows the money. It is likely to be the first mover inside the new digital economy, Goldilocks is speaking of Ripple, and creating a significant value because of the need for it in moving money around the world. Remember, as far as moving money around the world, what's going to move the dong? What's going to move the dinar, the bolivar, the USD, the rupiah? What's going to move these currencies in the QFS around the world? It is Ripple. So when we have where 20% of the institutional investors, and don't think 20% is weak, it is not too shabby. 20% of the largest institutional investors, these are the small percentage of institutions that make up for 80% of the global markets. So these 20% of institutional investors move 80% of the world's financial markets. Think of it in that text, in that context, all right? Now let's jump into what Russia and China are doing. Think of BRICS. This is an announcement. Russia to use cryptocurrencies for international trade amid Western sanctions starting next month. So, because the American sanctions start to another level against Russia next month, Russia is moving to cryptocurrencies for their trade. So instead of utilizing the US dollar, they're going to use cryptocurrencies. China as well and other countries. But this is BRICS. This is big time because of these are BRICS nations. Russia and China are part of BRICS. Russia plans to create stable coins for the Chinese yuan. This is the Chinese currency. Russia plans to create stable coins for the Chinese yuan and BRICS currency basket. In a BRICS currency basket. This will create new alliances towards Eastern trade and begin the separation for the use of the dollar in those trades. In September of 2024, Russia will begin using cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin for international trade. Bye bye, US dollar. This will help them avoid Western sanctions, US sanctions, and begin the process of resetting the global economy. This is key, folks, because as Russia begins to do this, the countries that they also do trade with will eventually follow their lead in ditching the US dollar for cryptocurrency trades around the world. Russia's shift towards digital trade will begin the process of utilizing local currencies around the world, meaning that countries will begin to use their own currencies instead of the US dollar. Therefore, this is where the supply and the demand for their currencies begin to increase, also increasing their values over time. Goldilocks continues. It will begin to lessen dependence on the dollar for trade in countries who choose to follow Russia's lead. We are at the beginning stages of leveling the playing field in currencies around the world. Remember President Trump, when he first went in office, his first term, he mentioned when a journalist asked him about currencies around the world, President Trump mentioned that he will work on leveling the playing field. Goldilocks continues. Shifts in power and use of money flows will begin to create new demands. This is new demands on our currencies, folks. And new demands create price pressures. Price pressures on what? On the currencies. It puts pressure on the currencies to begin to raise in value. These price pressures eventually show up in currencies and their values. It can be up or down, as a matter of fact. This move, along with corporate giants moving towards Ripple, meaning those 20% or so far, of institutional investors that are moving towards Ripple. So when you combine what Russia is doing with utilizing cryptocurrencies for trade, and now we have corporate giants and institutional investors moving towards Ripple, Goldilocks says this will begin to have a profound effect on the dollar as a shift in global economic preferences begin to form new alliances. This is the divorce from the US dollar that many countries around the world are beginning to move into. So that divorce from the US dollar and that separation allows countries around the world to have a new relationship, a new marriage with their own currencies. And what happens? The price pressures, the value of those currencies begin to rise in the global marketplace, on the water, and in trade, because there's a new demand for those currencies now, as countries such as Russia and others use cryptocurrencies, and also institutional investors use Ripple. Why? Because Ripple will move our local currencies, the US dollar, the dinar, the dong. Ripple will be the means of how the paper currencies and digital currencies move through the quantum financial system, and also gold, silver, and other assets will be utilized as Ripple moves them through the QFS. Last but not least, Goldilocks shares directly from the CBI a new announcement confirming that Iraq has completed in the digitizing of their banking system based on the Central Bank of Iraq law number 56 of 2004 as the sectoral body supervising the work of all licensed financial institutions. So this is the licensing and the digitizing of their banks. And within the framework of this bank's orientation towards automating the work of the banking sector, as well as the digital platform was created that includes establishing a new mechanism for issuing financial efficiency books, which is, ladies and gentlemen, the financial records of the CBI, and financial plans from all licensed banks and their controls. So here we have the Central Bank of Iraq announcing of the licensing and the digitizing of their banks within Iraq, and they are digitizing their books. They are digitizing their records, no longer utilizing manual records in the banks. Again, no longer utilizing the Flintstone and dinosaur ages of banking records, but now advancing to the Jetsons and the new digital mechanisms of recording transactions within the Iraq banking system. And by way of doing this, of licensing, legitimizing them, and also the digitizing of the banking system, this also makes way for Iraq to connect to the global banking system via the digital platform. This was actually, ladies and gentlemen, a law. You can even click on the link provided by Goldilocks, which is from the CBI. And actually, the Iraq Parliament passed this law in order for this to occur. Folks, it's amazing. I hope that you've been able to obtain this value and this information that is so profound for us moving forward towards this event. I hope you're connecting the dots and see how it's all developing in our favor. We have Russia, China moving from crypto to cryptocurrencies for trade, ditching the US dollar. All countries around the world are commencing to do the same thing. 20% of institutional investors, these are the in dinar land they call what are called whales. No, those aren't even real whales. These are the whales that move money around the world. And also when it comes to BRICS, when you have the announcement of Russia, China, and others that are moving away from the US dollar and utilizing their own digital currencies, cryptocurrencies and local currencies, this gives you the proof that you need to know that no, the United States is not joining the BRICS. The purpose of the BRICS nations, ladies and gentlemen, is to get away from the US dollar, to actually divorce from the US dollar in the US on the grounds of non-support, abandonment, and mental cruelty. This is the divorce from the US dollar. The United States is not joining the BRICS. The BRICS is divorcing the US dollar. Remember that. This is a divorce. So just imagine, folks, we are a part of something so momentous, a momentous occasion where Russia, China, and other nations are gladly, willingly divorcing the US dollar. No, the United States will not join BRICS. No need. There's a separation here. And the United States will be just fine on their own, just like every other nation will also. This is the beginning of the leveling of the playing field where everyone is equal. As Goldilocks says, an equilibrium. Leveling of the playing field, folks. Enjoy this moment. We love you. We appreciate you. Be in unconditional love, as always. Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.